Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to another Eline podcast. I'm your host, Mark Rose, with my special co-hosts, Ellie and Kiera. And then we have a very special guest, Mr. Pompey himself. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. Great. I'm doing great.
Oh, great, good. Thinking about it. All right. I'm really excited about this chat. So, because we're talking with Pompey. So, Pompey, I'll call you a audio engineer, music producer, artist. What would you call yourself? What do you call yourself? Or
And um, I consider myself a music producer first. Um, just create everything, and I think everything kind of falls up under that. So
okay, so everything goes under being a music producer.
yeah.
All right, so everyone, we're clear. Music producer. But he does have an EP out, Well Enough Alone. So, okay, before we get into that, Pompey, give us a brief synopsis. Like, just tell us about your history with music, getting into music. When did you start to get into music? Just your love for music. Let's talk about it.
I've been into music ever since I was like 3 years old, taking piano lessons, um, off and on. I played a little trumpet in high school. I'm not high school, middle school. Was in a singing dance group called Kennedy on Stage.
Mm.
Um, when I was in middle school. Um, I've always loved like R&B harmonies and stuff like that. Been real big on that, so I just love the sound and stuff. And so I went off to school, not really thinking about music or anything like that. Came back, and a partner of mine, he was like, "Hey, man, I got Fruity Loops. I'm making beats. Let's rap." I ain't never like rap before anything like that. I write stuff, but he was like, "Yo, let's rap." So I was like, "Okay." And so we just started like rapping, and my ear always gravitated to the quality of the sound. I always wanted to know, why didn't our stuff sound like the stuff we were hearing on the radio and everything. So I dove more into the production and the mixing side of it. Kind of put the artistry part to the side, and I just been doing it ever since. I think that was in 2001.
2001.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what was the first instrument that you played again?
Piano.
Piano. So
Yep.
out of all the instruments that you play or have played in general, what's your favorite?
I would say piano. It's the only one that I'm semi-fluent in. I can dibble and dabble with a little bit of guitar, not too much, but I can play around with it a little bit. So, but yeah, definitely piano.
Okay, cool. So how was the journey with the rapping when you first got into the rapping? How long did you like rap before you were like, okay, let me do the producing as of right now?
Um, I want to say maybe like a couple of years. I still was writing and everything like that, making my own songs. With the rapping thing, what I think what it was is that I was a Lil Jon fanatic. I love Lil Jon. In that whole era and that time and everything, and those were the types of songs, excuse me, that I was making.
Mhm.
But around that time, I was maybe like a buck 20, buck 25 soaking wet. So talking
Yeah.
about throwing bows and fighting and all that stuff in the club, and it ain't gonna fly too much. So, but I just started, saying probably about 3 years in, and like I said, was still writing and everything, and just kind of leaned over more to the production side. So,
Oh wow. Okay, cool. So production. What do you love the most about what you do?
um, just creating and trying new things. To be honest, it's weird. The song we was talking about before we started, it's a rock song that's got some Norse and Egyptian influences in it, and I have no idea where how I was gonna put it together, but it was something new for me. It was a challenge, and I did what I felt like, so I did with it, and came out pretty decent. Came out pretty decent for my first go around with it. So,
Okay. So do you have like a favorite genre
um,
that you like to experiment with the most?
I would probably say R&B. The reason being is because I've always just loved harmonies, like I was saying. I
Hmm.
was a big Take Six fan. Like I had an old tape of theirs, and I just play it over and over and over and over again. It was, they were an a cappella group, so I just love R&B stuff and hearing the different harmonies and everything that goes into it. So that's probably my most favorite to kind of dibble and dabble with. Most of my own personal stuff is kind of leaning towards that R&B pop vibe. So yeah, that's definitely the genre that I kind of like to play around with the most.
Okay. All right. So well enough alone. Let's get into this.
All
I want to know the process. I want to know how long it took for you to get there. Like, just get, let's talk about the process of
right,
this being a thing. And love the project, by the way.
appreciate it. Appreciate it.
The
Thank you.
vibe.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Um, Well Enough Alone is honestly way I would say it's overdue, but it's right on time. The time that it took for me to do this project, trying to see, I know that one song is older. So I would say like it's probably been within it's an accumulation of stuff from maybe like 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
5 to 7 years. Just doing some making some music, putting a hook on it here. Okay, that sounds good. And then kind of going on, saying to the next thing.
Mhm.
And then finally getting to the point where I was like, okay, finish it. These songs sound pretty good. Finish these up, finish writing them, record them, mix them, get your project out. So
Mhm. So I know you had Out of Sight, Out of Mind out already as a single before. So I think that was the only one I recognized before
yeah,
you alluded to the track list and everything like that.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's the No More record that's on there. It's an actual remix. So it's an acoustic, kind of acoustic electric
Yeah.
mix of a song that I did. Probably that's actually the oldest song lyric
Oh,
wise.
really?
That song is like I did that maybe like in 2016, I think.
Oh, well, you beat me to it because I was about to ask what was the first song you worked on?
Yeah, that's the
Project.
like it was already written and everything. I had another track for it. Actually, this is the remix of a remix. I did an original version. This guy heard it. He liked the track. So he bought the track. So I ended up doing another beat behind it. And then I I started picking up the bass to kind of play around with it a little bit. And I was like, let me do an R&B version of it. So that's what this is. So it's actually the third version of that song.
I picked that up because I believe before it was like more of the upbeat
Hmm.
song or track, or I heard it, or you like teased it or something like that. And then when I heard it, I was like, okay, this must be the song. And then it was acoustic, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, he
Yep.
switched it up. Okay, cool.
Yep.
It's
Hmm.
it's good. It's great. I like it.
Thanks. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So, out of all the songs on the EP, which one would you say that you feel the most? Like, what was it? I feel like I know. I feel like I know. Well, I want to see what you
Who was
say.
the inspiration? Who was the inspiration behind these tracks?
Oh man.
You
Uh
say inspirations, Ali?
Yes.
so yes.
How
So
many of them are there?
you said how many inspirations are there?
Yes. How many of the girls? How many of them?
Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to that question. Which one is my favorite? Or which one am I feeling the most?
Yeah, like
Um,
when, like during the process, you felt like while creating it, this like that was the song that you just you poured your heart. Like I'm sure you did with all of the songs, but which one, if you had to pick one out of all of the songs, which one
ooh,
did you really feel like you poured your heart out in?
ooh. So it's kind of a mix. Oh man. So this is gonna this is gonna be correct. Kind of it's hard for me to pick honestly with you
Yeah.
because the Fuck You With Love record, I created that the same way that I created the Out of Sight, Out of Mind record. But the Spring Runner record, the hook for that one, for me, the attitude of it's like the attitude of it kind of like that's kind of like that. Yeah, that's what I mean, you know. But Fuck You With Love, that one really hit me because I literally just playing some chords in the studio, and I was joking around actually with somebody, with a friend of mine that was there, and I just started playing around, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be it. So I just played the chords, looped it out, and wrote the song right then and there, and recorded it right then and there. So I was in a moment with that one. The same thing with Out of Sight, Out of Mind. I was at my parents' house. They got a piano in there, and I was playing around with some stuff. Let me get this off my screen. Hold on. I was playing around with some chords there, and I was like, oh man. I almost heard like the whole song in my head. So I went straight to the studio, played the chords, put a little beat behind it, sat there, came up with the melody, and popped a bottle of champagne, poured a cup, drinking, writing, went in, laid the hook, came back out, wrote the first verse, and that was it until I came back and finished the second verse later on. But those two right there were like, they really kind of hit. But Spring Runner is probably the attitude that I kind of have.
That's
That was probably kind of,
maybe my favorite currently.
yeah.
Of it, I think that's my favorite as of right now. It's the change, but as of right now, that's my favorite.
Yeah. Inspirations. Whew, man. It's a lot. It's a lot of inspiration. Just, you know, saying whether it be relationships or just interactions. Fuck You With Love probably has about, I can think of probably like 10 situations off the top of my head that I put in Fuck You With Love. And I know it's more, but it's 10
Holy moly.
in that record alone.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just going back and forth. I said, okay, you get 2 bars. Okay, you get 2 bars. You get a bar. You get a
You get a
bar.
bar. You get a bar. You get a bar.
Yeah, you got to ad lib. You get an ad libs. Yeah, so it's just I just dumped them all up in there. So, but yeah, it's a lot of inspiration in there. So, you know, I know Eli was waiting on that one.
Ellie.
Exactly.
I gotta, okay, so it's Ellie now. I gotta make sure I pronounce it right because it's another L in that bit. Got it.
Yeah.
Got
But okay, cool. So what I like about music is just like when you were talking about the creation of Spring Runner, as well as what was it, Fuck You at Love, I believe. Yeah,
Yep.
those two. It made me think about music at its core in terms of how you just have an idea, you have the lyrics, you have this story in your mind, and then you go to the studio, you're just like, hey, I got to create it. And then you just go to the studio, you build the beat, and bam. I think it's cool the fact that you are a music producer, so you play with sounds as well as make your own music, and you rap, you can do whatever. So I just think that's very commendable to say,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
by the way. So are you going to be working on anything else other than this project?
Yes, I'm actually in the mix of doing a couple of things now. I'm working on an actual producer camp
Oh
coming
wow.
up later on this year. I wanted to do it this February, but with the project and everything and some other endeavors that I'm taking on, it kind of got pushed back. But I got it all mapped down and everything lined up. It's just a matter of picking a date and going from there. I'm also going to do a compilation project with DJ Jay Stacks.
Okay.
We'll be doing a kind of like, it's gonna be kind of like an EP thing, like I did with Well Enough Alone. But
Oh,
it's
I
gonna
think I saw you
be,
post that
yeah,
online.
it's gonna be a more of on the club dance
Club,
tip. So
lit,
yeah,
turn up
so
type of vibe.
yeah, so actually there are a couple of songs that I have out already that I'm probably gonna put on this project. Black Bottles, All Right, and Boeing. I'll put those three on there, and then we probably go come up with like probably like 6 more to put on there.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about the producer camp. Like, what do you have entail for that?
Basically, it's going to be a rundown from top to bottom, going over some basic business things that you just need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Being a producer, going over sound selection, beat making process,
Mm-hmm.
basic mixing and stuff like that, and also going over melody, how to create melodies and put melodies on your tracks for you to have that if you want to send to other artists and stuff like that. To get on your songs, because that's a major thing about producing. It's about not only just sending out beats, but just also sometimes you have an artist in mind, you can create the whole song, send it to them, and all they have to do is just record their vocals over it. So but yeah, just kind of the top to bottom
Okay.
process that I've learned as being a music producer.
Okay, so what advice, like, what type of gems that you can give us for the audience, for like the new artist or an artist that's trying to step into the studio and record something and meet with you? Like, what type of expectations do you have for artists coming into the
Um,
studio? Do you have expectations, or
um,
are there any
I
type
really,
of like,
I really don't have any expectations. The gem that I would pass along to people is one that I kind of live by. Always stay a student. Go
mm,
into every situation looking to learn.
mhm,
Um, that's major, especially if you're a beginner. Just soak in as much information as you can, and you can siphon through it later. See what works for you, see what doesn't work for you, but get as much information as you can, and take heed to what people are saying, especially if they're in a position that you one day want to be in. You know, what they're doing may not be exactly what you need to do, but you'll get some insight on which path you need to take versus thinking that you know everything and you just know exactly what you're doing when you really don't. So
mhm.
that's what I stay a student. Stay a student no matter how long you're doing
Okay. So as a producer, what in the past would you say that like I don't like I guess a mistake that you've made, or something that you feel like you've had to learn from, that you could kind of like share with the audience?
it. I would say I didn't put myself out there enough, to
Okay.
be honest. You gotta take risks.
Yeah.
Once you decide which direction you're going, go ahead and take the risk. Jump out there. The worst thing that you can ever receive is a no, and
Mm,
that's you're no worse off than you were, when you put your bid in. You didn't have it then, you don't have it now. Cool, back to the drawing board. Go to the next opportunity. A lot of people um, that you want to reach, the thing that they look for is consistency. If they come across your name a lot, or they come across, what you're doing a lot, they'll take notice. And you don't have to be, with them directly all the time. If you just, the circle is very small. If you know somebody, more than likely you're probably 2 degrees, just 2 degrees of separation from the other person that you were trying to reach out to just a few days ago.
mhm,
And if you do good work, you be respectful, um, move with integrity, know how to talk to people, they'll bring your name up. They'll
mhm.
bring your name up. You'll find yourself in a room before you even that room that you didn't even know existed. So, but that was one of the things. Just I should have took more risk, but you know,
But look at you now. Look at you
yeah,
now. Oh yeah, and speaking of that, you performed in Boston with your recent single before the EP, which is lit with is it Jeff Timmons?
yeah, Timmons, yes.
Yeah. So how was that like process and experience? Because I talked with you before, and
Whew.
you said it was like it like you guys were working on that song for like a little minute, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I had that song done in 2015. Like I had
Mm.
wrote it for another artist. Um,
Oh, you wrote it
didn't
for
work
another
out.
artist.
Yep, wrote it for another artist. That artist, it didn't. They didn't. I guess they moved in another direction. Um, then we tried to put it on another group that didn't pan out, and so the original artist that I wrote it for, Jeff was actually gonna feature on it with the guy.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it just kind of swung back around. He recorded it. He went ahead and did the whole thing and sat on. We then around that time COVID hit,
Mm,
and so it kind of slowed everything down.
of course.
And but then he hit me up. He went out of the blue. This was 2021, the actual first time I actually performed the song. He hit me up like a week before a show in Kentucky. He was like, "Hey, um, got a show in Kentucky. If you can make it, come on, make it. We'll perform the song." Hadn't met him yet or nothing. So when I went, I said, "Well, we'll hop in, figure it out." Drove up there, met him for the first time. The first time it was the first time we performed the song, and they loved it. And so it's like, okay, we got something here. And the official drop was March the 21st of 2021, was it? I think 2021 or 2022. I forget. It might have been 2022, but that was the Boston trip. So we dropped it the weekend of the St. Patrick's Day parade in Boston that Saturday, and then we did the parade that Sunday. And that was bananas. I ain't
Yeah.
never seen that many people before in my life.
Yeah, that's a cool experience going from being a music producer in the studio, producing things, to performing a song in front of so many people.
Yeah.
How do you like
Yeah.
performing?
It's cool. I've always performed like ever since I was, when I was little too. In the preschool that I went to, um, they had us on the Parade of Quartets, on TV and stuff. So I was like 3 years old. I was the singing dance group that I was in. I used to do some lead stuff in there. Um, yeah, I mean it's cool. I have to kind of build myself up to do it, but it's once I kind of get in that zone, and then we there. So
Yeah, yeah. So I'm assuming so you like producing more than actually making like being the artist.
yeah, I made that call, like I said, back in the days when I was like, oh, I'm gonna slide over here to this side of the music. But um I also learned the best, in another gem that I would say to music producers, like, create songs, make
Hmm.
songs, because that's one surefire way
Hmm.
that you can get people to hear your music production if you have your own songs and you release them.
Hmm.
You don't want to be waiting on artists, all the time to, especially when you're coming up. Not everybody is as serious as they'll say that they are.
Yeah.
So you'll have a track and you're like, okay, yeah, man, I do this, that, third, da 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 da, and then give it to them. You try to work with them and everything, and they might record a song, and then it dead. You know what I'm saying? Life could happen to them. They might, have to do something else, and now you really can't do anything with it. So always have your own songs. Always just create your own songs.
What makes you take an artist serious?
Um, now
Yeah.
you have to be. I have to be able to see your work.
Hmm.
It should be very visible. Um, I used to go off of the excitement, the same type of excitement that I had for making music. They would, artists would display that same type of excitement, but it's not easy. You know, the writing of a song and then recording of a song, like, that's cool, but then it's like, what's after that? And you have to be excited about that part too. If you're not, then you know and I've gotten caught up in that a few times, so now it's like, okay, I got to be able to see your work. I got to be able to see your work, and I can't work harder on your stuff than you do.
Mm. Wow, that's a word. Cool.
Yeah, I
Thanks
can't.
for your gems.
Yeah, yeah, I try to drop some knowledge. I don't know too much, but I try to drop what I can.
Yeah,
What's the most
yeah.
annoying, what's the most annoying thing you have to deal with new artists?
um I think the most annoying thing would be uh when they try to skip the steps. Um, you know, the artists that people see that make it, they have the fundamentals down first. It may not seem like it may seem like they just go out here and do, but no, they're practicing and studying their craft. The time that you don't see them, they are really locked in and honing in, and they're taking constructive criticism without you know, getting their feelings hurt or taking it personal, because everything is about how do you get better. And I think that might be the most, you know, the annoying thing, because I'm the type of person personally to where it's like, oh, you want to try that? Okay, let's do it. Let's see if it'll work or not. You know, it's rarely a no, no, not doing that. No, it's okay. We either go try it, or let's sit down and talk about how, you know, we need to go about and do this. But yeah, that probably the most annoying thing to me.
Okay. So if you
What
could,
would you say is your biggest success so far in your career?
It's probably the um the lit record that I have with Jeff Timmons. That's probably
Yeah.
right now. That's probably the biggest one. Because I've performed with him 3 times. Um, and the people, they love it every time. Every time we performed it. Um, we've actually had a few other dates that have been scheduled, but some things you know, came up. Shows get canceled and stuff like that. But yeah, that's probably the biggest today. I would say that was exciting. You know, him being the founder of 98 Degrees and traveled all across the world. You know, who knows how many millions of records, you know, he sold and stuff like that. So working with him is like, you know, it's great.
so
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
do you plan on performing anything from Well Enough Alone?
Um, I don't know. I don't have any plans to. If something comes up, I probably could. The though the 3 records in Sirens, Out of Sight, Out of Mind, and Too Many would probably be the ones that I perform.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the 3. Sirens, surprisingly to me, has gotten the most feedback.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the one that's gotten the most feedback. People love that record.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no
So,
plans to perform at this moment. But you know, if something comes up, I will.
are you proud of yourself?
This, you know what, I actually am. I sat back and, you know, when you're in the process of like making stuff, you're kind of in it.
Hmm.
When I sat back and like really like listened to it, um after I finished the intro, because the intro was the last thing I did.
Oh, wow.
After I finished the intro and I sat back and I just put everything in my iTunes and I just played it, just top to bottom. I sat back and I was like, I actually like this project. Like, this is really dope. I love it. Yeah, this is it. I'm happy. I'm actually happy about this, putting this out. And so yeah, I am actually proud of myself about this, to be honest.
I'm happy to hear that because I feel like a lot of people, when creating, sometimes can kind of beat themselves up about their art and their work and things like that, and not be as proud as they should be.
Yep.
So I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it can be stressful when you're in and you're trying to get things so perfect. Um, that was another thing that I with this one, I was just like, yo, just I know with too many in Sirens, there were older hooks that I just had sitting. And I told myself, hey, just sit down and write the song. Just write it. Just sit down and just write it. Don't worry about, you know, having to be in a mood or whatever. Just write the record. And it came out and I was happy with it, you know. So I had to kind of let that idea of, oh, everything's got to be so perfect. I had to let it go.
Hmm. Were you shocked at like the feedback at all once you released it? Were you nervous when you first like were gonna release it? Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous. Because like I said, I was really happy with the project. I'm really happy with the project.
Yeah.
So at this point, it was like y'all gonna get this.
Yeah.
Like I really don't care because I'm good with it. I listen to it from top to bottom over and over and over and over again. I haven't gotten tired of it yet. So I'm like, look,
Good.
hey, it is what it is. But no, I wasn't nervous at all with the release of this one.
Okay. All right. So if you could say anything to your younger self, what would you say in the moment?
Keep going and do more.
Keep doing and do more.
Yep.
Love it. Okay, Pompey. Well, we want to thank you for joining us today. I really enjoyed getting to know more about you and your project, the process. Thanks for the gems because I feel like there are a lot of artists, a lot of new, whether like you're into music or not, that just needs to hear little things like this. So thank you for sharing yourself with us.
I appreciate y'all having me for real.
Okay, everyone. So that was Pompey. Where can we find you, by the way, Pompey?
Pompey Productions, pretty much on everything: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter is probably the only one that's different. Pompey, yep. So,
Okay. Yep. Hashtag yep.
but yeah, you can find me all over social media.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us and listening to us today. I hope you learned something from this chat with Pompey. I hope he kind of gave some insight on the behind the scenes of making music, how it is to also be a producer, as well as sometimes dabble and be an artist. But until next time, keep creating, keep being beautiful, keep being your best version of yourself. And thank you. And we love you all. All righty.